Okay, well today on Cooking with Chris, we're going to talk about one of my favorite fall dishes, and since we're officially into November now, 2018, I want to talk about a dish that I learned about when I lived in Pennsylvania. I lived in Pennsylvania for 15 years, and I have to tell you, it is the one thing I miss living in Florida is the smell of the fall air, the beautiful trees, the fall festivals, cinnamon, all those wonderful things that we think of and we have to buy as air fresheners here in the South. But that said, again, there are dishes that, particularly in the Northeast, are very attached to the fall season, and one of those is an Amish apple crisp recipe that I'm going to share with you today. There is a great deal of Amish in the part of Pennsylvania where I lived with Pittsburgh. Shout out to my Pittsburgh peeps and my Erie peeps. But a great deal of Amish there, and they run country stores where they sell their Amish wares and some of the best pies, cakes, dairy products, anything you can think of that you would like to make and have homemade, they make, and they're delicious. So this recipe was shared with me from an Amish family, and I'm happy to share it with you today. So let's get started. Let's talk about, heat that oven to 350 degrees while we go through what you're going to need and how to put it all together for this delicious dish. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Be sure to hit the little bell so that you get notifications of when my videos are up, and dig around the channel because in addition to Cooking with Chris, we also have all kinds of information on skin care, health and wellness, weight loss, and some really great guest appearances in the guest playlist. So be sure and check those out, especially now as we keep adding more and more for you. So that said, let's get started. The first thing you need are apples, right? And of course, there are all kinds of apples to choose from. We want to choose a baking apple, either a red apple or a green, doesn't matter. Check your local farmer's market or grocery stores for what are appropriate baking apples. They're in Macintosh, Granny Smiths are really great, and Red Delicious do tend to be a little on the foamy or spongy side. However, they have less sugar. So if you're looking for a way to make this dish with less sugar, the Delicious variety is better. And I will also have a sugar substitute version of this dish in the video description box. So there'll be two recipes, one for the one I'm talking about today and one where you can substitute sugar with the equal amounts that you need to use. So let's talk about it. So let's talk about what we're gonna need. Obviously we need apples. So we're gonna need 6 to 10 baking apples, and you wanna core those and peel them and put them into chunks or slices, whatever you prefer, but you need 6 to 10 of those. You're gonna need 3/4 a cup of sugar, a half a cup of flour, a half a cup of water, a tablespoon of cinnamon, 1/2 stick of butter, a teaspoon of allspice, and a tablespoon of vanilla. This is for the filling. This is going to be the filling. There's going to be a topping that goes with this dish. It's absolutely delicious, but that's separate ingredients. So this is what you need to gather for your filling. Again, you want to core the apples, peel them, and chop them up or slice them. Either way is fine. And then you want to coat them with these ingredients. So they're going to be kind of coated, and then there'll be a little bit of the liquid that settles at the bottom of the bowl that you're going to pour on top once you place the apples in a 9x13 baking dish. So we want to be sure and do that and spray the baking dish first so that we make sure that they don't stick. So let's talk about this delicious, crumbly, crisp, crunchy topping that we're going to use on the top of the apple dish. For that, you're going to need a cup of oats, like rolled oats or old-fashioned oats. You don't want the instant oats. 1 1/4 cups of flour, 3/4 a cup of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and 1.5 sticks of butter slightly melted. You don't want to melt it all the way because we want a little bit of thickness as we mix this crumble topping together. And you can also include 1/2 cup of your favorite nuts. In this particular dish, I am using black walnuts. It's one of my favorites, and it keeps the flavor, and they bake well without burning, unlike pecans and some other topping that you would use nuts on. So you're going to take the dry ingredients and mix them first, the oatmeal, the sugar, the seasoning. You're going to mix that up and get it kind of crumbly, and then you're going to add the butter. And then you're going to mix that up, and it's going to be very crumbly, a little bit sticky, but very, very crumbly. You could add a little more flour if you need to. but usually this particular amount of ingredients always works really, really well for me. And then you'll mix in the nuts for the last part. After you've placed all the apples into the pan, you're gonna spread this topping all over. You're gonna kind of sprinkle it all over, and it's gonna cover the entire thing, and it'll be somewhat thick. And then you're gonna place the dish into the oven for 45 minutes. You keep an eye on it. Once that topping begins to get really brown, you want to take it out. It'll be done. So the apples cook really, really quickly, then do the topping. So you want to kind of keep an eye on that. Now, there is a variation to this dish. If you want to add a half a cup of cheddar cheese to the topping, it's also delicious. It's very, very good with cheese or without cheese, and you serve it just hot, piping hot. It's absolutely delicious. Maybe a little ice cream with it. But this is a holiday favorite. It's great this time of year. Apples are in season. Please try to get organic so that you go healthy. And again, check the video description box for the less sugar version of this dish that I've included for you. Stay tuned. We have a lot more coming your way. I hope you enjoyed this and enjoy the fall and the holiday season that's upon us.